So, if you know about the story of Jacob in the book of Genesis, where Isaac is dying, which is Jacob and Esau's father, he was like, I want to give my blessing from God to Esau because, he was the first son, although they were, twins. And so, Jacob's mother, which was Esau's other mother, which is Isaac's wife, was like, no, like, I want Jacob to have it. And so, while Esau was out, she pretended for Jacob to be Esau and was like, you're going to take the blessing. So, he took the blessing. Esau came and found out and obviously wanted to come after his brother and kill him or whatnot. And so Jacob's mom, their mutual mom, was like, okay, why don't you go flee to my relative? Go over to my brother's house and just hide there for a little bit until Esau calms down. Jacob was like, all right, bet. So he leaves and then he goes and finds Laban, which is his mother's brother. And so he's like, oh, your daughter is bad. Like, whatever. And which was Rachel. And so he was like, your daughter is fine. Like, I want her. I want her. What can I do to get her? And Laban is like, why don't you work for me for 7 years and you can have my daughter? Jacob is like, bet. He works 7 years. Boom, he gets his daughter. Not Rachel, though. He gets Leah. And he's like, yo, you just, like, deceived me. Kind of crazy coming from him because he deceived his brother. But he's like, yo, you just deceived me. And Laban is like, okay, bet, my bad. Work another 7 years and you can have the daughter that you desire. He's like, okay. Works another 7 years. Works 14 years in total for the daughter he thought was bad. Rachel, fine. Like, as these youngins say, fine, And so, come to find out, Leah feels neglected, which was the initial wife that Laban gave Jacob that he didn't want. And she's pleading to God, like, yo, like, why have you forsaken me? Like, he worked for me, and he worked an additional 7 years to get another wife that can't even conceive. And so God sees that, she's pleading, and so he blesses her womb, and Leah is able to conceive because she's thinking, oh, if I have a kid, then maybe Jacob will love me and not be so focused on my sister that he had to work an additional 7 years for. It didn't work that way. So anyways, God closed Rachel's womb to where she couldn't even conceive just yet. And so I was just kind of pondering on this and like, dang, like, what does this even mean? Sometimes we overwork for something that we desire that isn't even good for us. Rachel ends up dying too, by the way, like first or whatever. And, she's able to conceive farther down the line. But like, God granted Jacob what a blessing, what a wife that's able to conceive and continue on his legacy. But instead, he was greedy, didn't want that, overlooked God's blessing, and went after another woman that he had to work an additional time for. So instead of us focusing on God's plan and following through his path, when we swivel out and go the opposite way, we're going to overwork ourselves for something that isn't even going to work to go back to the thing that God gave us to in the first place.